Welcome back to the Morning Show here on Arise News. Events of the past few days in Kano, the largest city in northern Nigeria, has to a large extent refocused public attention on the anti-graft war of the Buhari administration. The governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, has been on the warpath, carving out of the historical Kano Emirates under the leadership of AMIA Lamido Sanusi 4 additional emirates and quickly installing surrogate heads over them. Many analysts have called this action desperate political vendetta carried out under the guise of effecting law and order. And yet, it has not been long that the governor in question was caught on spy camera accepting bribe worth thousands of dollars from certain business interests. A key ally of the president, Governor Ganduje, has not been reprimanded nor censored. Instead, President Buhari publicly doubted the authenticity of the incriminating material. We are now being joined by Jaafar Jaafar, the man who authored the petition with which the Kano State government, Abdullahi Ganduje, has deployed to whittle down the powers of the Emir of Kano, a former central bank governor. Well, Jaafar Jaafar, thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good to see you. I mean, you look relaxed. You look on fast. You know, the other time we spoke, you know, on this program, it looked like, you know, someone was going to jail you, take you to court, harass you. You know, you are relaxed. You know, but you have been watching the situation in Kano.
I'm relaxed, really. There is no more harassment again.
Anyway, you have been watching the situation in Kano. You know, what exactly is going on there with this emirate thing? Is it really vendetta, or is palace politics, or is it a case of Hausa nationalism?
Well, really, this is a clearly case of vendetta, really. If he has something against the emir, there are ways that he could approach all those issues and deal with them in an appropriate manner. But this governor's action, it does not make economic sense. It does not make historical sense. It does not make political sense. So I don't know, it is one of the worst political decisions ever taken in the history of Kano State. To just, at the stroke of pen, just dissolve or destroy 1,000-year history of an emirate, just because you have an issue with the emir, which could be solved among yourself. You can solve it amicably. So I see this decision as a clear case of vendetta, and I believe it cannot stand, because you cannot transfer aggression to the citizen of Kano State, because this is a heritage we cherish so much, and everywhere around the world is cherishing. So if that spectacle that is happening at Kano Daba, if you water it down and it becomes less attractive, the world might not even see it attractive enough to come and watch it every year. So even from that angle, you can see what is costing Kano State to lower the prestige of an emirate that has been established long time ago, and see that maybe your decision, you are doing it maybe because of you want to spread development across the state. I see this a very vague excuse, because that is not the best way to spread development. All these places he created, emirates, they need potable drinking water, but they don't have.
Yeah.
Probably they need small schools there.
Hey, Jaafar, I mean, you are from Kano, right? And you will recall that this is not the first time that these emirates will be created. They were created first under Abubakar Rimi as governor. Bakinzuo, was it Bakinzuo who reversed it? And we're told that, look, Kano was originally, as at 1349 up to 1804, a Hausa kingdom. Now, how popular is this decision among the people? Is this about Hausa nationalism? I would like you to address that.
Really, it is very unpopular decision. Forget what the history, even historically, these kingdoms, these chiefdoms, we have to call them chiefdoms, because they were not bigger than Kano Emirates. At some point in history, they were vassal chiefdoms under Kano State, under Kano Emirate. They pay allegiance to Kano. You understand, and everything. Even Kano is giving them military power and economic power and all that. They have been ruled in indirect fashion, just the way the British ruled some northern colonies. So it is just like that. They have never been independent territories. So I don't know which history they're talking about, that overnight they will just come and make them equal to the emirate. Let's look at this, for instance. In the United Kingdom, in the medieval Scotland and Anglo-Saxon England, there were about 7 major kingdoms in those days. But as time goes on, around 10th century, they fused. They started fizzling away and fused into 4 major ones. And as time goes on, they become one. So does this make sense overnight and just say, okay, England is reversing to those 7 kingdoms in Wessex, Sussex, Northumbria, Kent, and so many places? It doesn't make sense. You know, because the society has evolved, has developed to a certain level that you cannot reverse it to what has been there maybe over 1,000 years ago. And in the case of Kano, they have never been independent states. They have always been under the control of Kano. One of the chiefdoms that you're talking about, historically, even after Kano Daba, the history is that the Emir of Kano will just deliver some of his regalia and everything and just give him. That is the tradition every year. Emir of Kano will give him what he wore on the first Salah day, on Eid day. He will give him that regalia and he will wear it for his people to see him. That is the tradition. So I still find it very hard to believe that a governor will just wake up and at a stroke of pen look at the speed with which the State Assembly took the decision. You know that something is really amiss. In barely 72 hours, a bill was presented before the House from nondescript legal chamber. Well, and in no time, it was a committee was formed. And after forming the committee, in no time, they submitted the report within 24 hours without subjecting it to rigors of public hearing, because we matter as citizens. A key decision of this magnitude should be tabled before the public to have input. But this has not been done, you understand? So the assembly, in the next few, in just 72 hours, less than that, I believe less than 72 hours, the bill scaled through first, second, and third reading, and they passed it into law. Well, and on that very day, the governor assented it. And curiously, on that very day, the governor signed a life pension law for the speaker and deputy speaker of Kano State. Why are we putting more burden on the state at the detriment of the people? This is the governor who once said that Kano State is better off with only one state university. He made even attempts to merge the 2 universities into one. So because education is not needed, look at on education, he said that we don't need 2 universities in Kano.
Well, Mr. Jaafar, if you allow me come in here.
Which does not make economic and whatever sense.
Well, in the governor's
come again, please.
In the governor's defense, I mean, you talked about the development of the people in the grassroots, and the governor made that point to say that this action was purely administrative action for the development of Kano. He says traditional rulers answer to the local government, and that's where you have, the bulk of the people. That is where concentration of governance should be. You do not agree with the governor that this is for the development of the Kano people, for the everyday man in Kano, and woman and children?
No, I do not believe this assertion, because it doesn't make sense at all. When Lagos wanted to spread development to communities, they created development area councils. That makes sense really, because they are administratively bringing more development to the people. But emirs, what will emirs bring? even to build more palaces for them, buy exotic cars for them, and many other things. You have to do that to give them the status you want to elevate them to overnight. So how does this in every right-thinking person, how can every right-thinking person say that this is for development? I don't see it. To develop what? To develop individuals at the detriment of developing the people or developing the community?
Jaafar, in your prefatory remarks, you said this will not stand. How certain are you about that?
Yeah.
I mean, because the emirs themselves, you know, we saw them collecting, the new emirs collecting staff of office. We saw them, you know, riding the horse. And these guys, you know, they look like they are determined, you know, to hold on to these new staffs that they have been given. You know, when you say it will not stand, how do you mean? You know, considering the fact also that people are saying that the long-term objective of the Ganduje administration is to depose the Emir of Kano. Do you see the Emir being deposed very soon or dethroned? You know, if I may use that.
Well, really, I really, because all the crisis that is simmering in the state between the governor and the emir, most of the crisis, one would say that it is perceived political involvement of the emir. No one can say that the emir has openly. I'm not a fan of the emir. Everybody knows this, but nobody can pinpoint where the emir said that Kano people should go and vote for a certain candidate. What the emir says that drew the ire of the state governor is that whoever loses election should take that in good faith in order not to throw the state into political crisis, in order for people to live in peace in the state. This is the emir's major crime. And he said that when the election was stalemated, that was in between the time the election was declared inconclusive, you understand, and the time of the next concluding part of the election. So they were really slighted because they knew, every right-thinking person in the state knows that that election was massively rigged in favor of the state governor. So the emir, the governor took offense at that. So going back at the reasons why I said that the election or this appointment of the emirs cannot stand is the fact that there is existing court case, there is court order that restrict the governor from taking any further action. And the governor has indicated that he is not aware of that court order. Since he said that he's not aware, probably his attention was drawn to it. The governor tactically avoided service. The order was given on Friday, and the governor, on that very Friday, the governor did not issue appointment letters to the emirs. And surreptitiously, they went and backdated the appointment letters and then issued it individually to the emirs. Then he invited the emirs again to another function while the court says that the status quo should be maintained and no further action should be taken by the governor. And on Sunday, the governor started giving staff of office to the new emirs. It took him up to late hours of the night to achieve the task in order to avoid service of the court order, so that by Monday, Tuesday, when they sought for substituted service, by then he might have already distributed the staff of office and has achieved his objective. But that cannot stand, because this is flagrant violation of the court order. And the second reason is that history has shown that Werimi did a similar move by creating 4 more emirates in Kano, in the old Kano state, because some of the emirates there at that time was Dutse and Ayo in Jigawa, currently in Jigawa state. Werimi did that to get at Emir of Kano. On the very first day, Sauba Kinzo was inaugurated as governor of Kano state. In his inaugural speech, he made it clear that he has dissolved them and likened their worth to the 4 S's of club, hat, diamond and what have you. So on that very day, he dissolved them. So any governor that comes, really, that does not have any issue with the AMIA, consider these emirates as worthless because they cannot stand. Our history will be restored back in the state.
Since we are talking about history, the Emir's grandfather was also deposed and exiled, and it was after investigations into financial mismanagement and a couple of other things. Although Emir Sanusi returned over the weekend to Kano to a hero's welcome, we do understand that the state anti-graft agency plans to open fresh investigations into financial misappropriations and financial recklessness under his watch. So can we truly say that this is over, because you say it cannot stand? If the findings of that agency does come to light, do you not think that the governor would have real cause to depose Emir Sanusi and then go in the way of his grandfather?
Well, really depending on what the agency finds out. This is an agency that that could not investigate the governor when he was also found to indulge in corrupt practices. They could not investigate the governor. They could not do anything. They were even hiring people to attack those that were against the governor. So does an agency with this pedigree have the clout or have the moral standing to investigate other people for corrupt practices? And we lost hope in the anti-corruption agency in the state if it could not investigate anyone that tramples on the law. It shows that the commission is biased. You understand? And you can see that something that was already buried, because the state government has said that, okay, this issue has been settled, and the governor has forgiven the emir. And overnight, if it were new charges, fresh charges that are different from those ones, which the investigation, the governor said that has forgiven the emir, if it were fresh charges, then really we will say that, okay, let the governor, he who comes to equity must come with clean hand. Then we'll just say the governor should face the law. He should face that commission and face his investigation so that the truth would prevail at the end of the day.
Well, Jaafar, let me take you back to something you said earlier, when you say you are not a fan of the Emir of Kano. I mean, how do you mean? You are a journalist. You must have been doing some Emirate watching, assessing his performance so far as the Emir of Kano. And then, in addition, do you see the possibility of a security problem in Kano? Because this is a brewing problem. Do you see people, taking one side or the other now that people are carrying placards, leave our Emir alone? Is there any security risk on account of the step that Ganduje has taken?
Yes, really there is security risks because protesters were attacked was it on Saturday or Sunday in the state when they were staging peaceful protests, which the police permitted them to do. And they were attacked. Thugs loyal to the state government were stationed in dozens of vehicles to attack the protesters. And on the morning of that was Sunday, on Sunday morning when the emir was about to return to Kano, the same thugs were also brought back to the streets of Kano to attack the protesters or those who come out to cheer the governor and give him a hero's welcome. So really there is security risk, although the police are trying hard to see that the thugs were not allowed to attack people, and at the end of the day, the people outpowering citizens that outpower to the street to come and cheer up the emir, overwhelm the thugs and do what they wanted to welcome the emir. So I believe that there is security risks in the state, unless if the state government will desist from engaging talks to attack innocent people. This is the same way talks were deployed to the state to disrupt Kano election. So this, we don't want these presidents of using talks to prevail in the state, because it is dangerous precedents which maybe successors of the next administration will also borrow a cue from the governor and started using talks whenever anything goes out of their favor.
Yeah, but the second leg of the question, about you not being a fan of Emir Sanusi, what's really the problem? What's your assessment of his leadership so far as Emir of Kano?
Well, really, to some people, really, he has achieved a lot by bringing the image of the emirate to international outlook, and then he has also done enough in also calling for reforms, really, some maybe radical reforms in education, in girl child education, and a lot of that. As an advocate of girl child education is quite something commendable, we will say, because one of the problems we're facing in the north pertains really that. And then family issues, family laws. The AMIA is also advocate of that. The AMIA is also advocate of economic empowerment or economic development in the state. But there are certain aspects, if anybody has maybe traditional sense, somebody like me really, there are certain things I disagree with the AMIA. That is why I say that I'm not his fan, really. There was a time I wrote an article criticizing the AMIA for speaking a lot on all these issues, because traditionally, traditional rulers are not or were not like that. They shouldn't be speaking in public. There is a tin bell attached to their turban. We call it in local parlance as amawali. It is meant to silence the emir and not to be talking superfluously the way our emir is doing sometimes, really. But although he has made amends and corrected some of his mistakes in that regard, because he has stopped criticizing the state governor against what he did before. It is remarkable improvement in his character, but Emir Sanusi really, to muzzle him is very difficult, but he has shown that he has improved significantly in the last 2 years in terms of speaking against the powers that be. I say that this is remarkable improvement.
Well, you've rightly said so. Emir Sanusi has been critical of government policies and actions, either as the CBN governor or as Emir, no matter whose ox is being galled. And you know, the bad blood seeming bad blood between the governor and the Emir is not new. It's been on for a while. But did all of this come to you as a surprise? Yeah. That the creation of the new Emirates, did it come to you as a surprise?
It did, really. It did come to me as a surprise, because there are so many ways a state governor can punish, so to say, if I'm being harsh, sorry, but to deal with, if that is harsh also, let me put it, to handle an emir, because the emir is under him. And as the governor rightly said, the emir is under local government control. There are certain restrictions that he can place on the emir, so that the emir will know that really he has trampled on or he has gone beyond his bounds. So, but the emir, but the governor's transfer of aggression to our heritage, over 1,000-year heritage, is what I do not agree with. If the emir did something wrong to him, there are a lot of ways to handle that issue, which the emir may not be happy with. But the citizen of the state may not even notice that there is existing feud or there is an existing crisis between them. But now that he take this decision that dislodge our history at a stroke of pen, and also lower the estimation of our emirate in the public, in the international eyes. So
well,
the governor is doing something which history may not remember him in good light.
Well, apparently, I mean, Governor Ganduje has not been able to lower the estimation of the Emir of Kano in the eyes of the international community, considering the fact that the United Nations just gave him a 2-year assignment. Now, but let me ask you this question. Do you find it odd that Abuja has been very silent on this matter, treating it more or less as if it's a matter between, it's a local matter between the governor and the emir, and also the silence of the caliphate? The Sultanate of Sokoto, you know, has also been very quiet, you know, considering the linkage between the Kano Emirate and the caliphate system. Why do you think this is the case?
Yeah, well, really, I also find the silence of the emir, the sultanate as not golden. Really, the Sultan of Sokoto should speak up against this bastardization of the history. Kano elders also should speak up against this because as it stands now, they were all silent. Probably they have fear of persecution also. That is why they remain silent because they do not want their maybe business interests to be attacked or to be jeopardized by the state government. I really can't fathom why the Sultanate and the elders in the state or in the north are silent on this bastardization of our history. It is only the youth that are speaking up against it, standing up against the governor for doing this decision. And I see the presidency is also silent on this issue as not golden, because what happens in Kano normally spreads to the north. Kano is the nerve center, is the cauldron, is the hotspot of political development in northern part of the country. So if Kano sets a bad precedence, you will see that that precedence has some domino effects that spirals or that affects other places across the north. So that is why we are calling that such precedents should not be allowed to stand in order to protect other places in northern part of the country to borrow a leaf from the state governor by just transferring aggression whenever any governor has any issue with his emir.
Jaafar, let me ask you about your report on the governor. I mean, the scandalous videos you released, that report you did. What is the latest on it? Did it deter you that not much has happened after then?
Yeah, really, I'm really not happy with the way the State Assembly handled the issue, because I doubt if they appeal the court order that stop them from investigating the governor, because they need to take it up if they were really serious about people of Kano State, if they really mean well for the people, and because they were representative of the people, they were elected to represent the people, and from what we understand, Kano people were really happy with the expose. They were really happy that corruption is fought, even when a governor is involved in it. Truly, I'm not happy with the way the State Assembly handled the matter. I have done my bit, really. I took security risks to go to the state, testify before the Assembly, did everything to do my own bit in fighting corruption and call for a better society. But the Assembly did their own, from the end, miscarry the whole issue by halting the investigation, which at the state level, we can say that everything is now over regarding that videos. And apart from that, we are currently in court with the governor, claiming about, was it 5 billion or, sorry, 3 billion naira in a defamation suit in a Kano High Court. We are still in court on that case.
Well, thank you very much, Jaafar Jaafar, and congratulations on what you have been able to do in terms of your contribution to investigative journalism in Nigeria. I mean, we owe it to you. You more or less threw up the phrase about Gandola, which is a famous phrase, you know, in Nigeria now. And thank you very much for honoring our invitation.